Okay, so there's this new AI tool from Google. It's called Antigravity, and the buzz around it is, well, it's pretty wild. People are throwing around words like game changer, but, what does that even mean? Let's cut through all that noise and figure out what this thing actually is and what it does.
And really, it all boils down to this one claim, a claim that honestly sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. We're not just talking about, getting a little code snippet or having it autocomplete a line for you. No, no. The promise here is that it builds entire, working applications from the ground up just from you describing them. Think about that. A landing page, a complex dashboard, you just ask for it. So that really is the million-dollar question we're going to tackle here. Is this just another piece of tech getting a ton of hype only to fizzle out in a few months? Or are we looking at a genuine, fundamental shift in how we create things? Well, let's dig in and see what we can find out.
All right, first things first, let's look at what anti-gravity can actually build. I'm not talking about theories or possibilities. These are real-world examples that were created just from simple text prompts. And honestly, the results are pretty jaw-dropping.
So, for example, someone just typed in something like, build me a personal tutor for learning Spanish. And what did they get? Not just a simple page, but a full-on multi-page app. We're talking interactive lessons, practice sections. It even had flashcards with audio. And the key thing, it was all generated automatically.
Or how about something more practical, maybe for a small business? A user prompted it to build an invoice generator that can export to PDF. And just like that, it spit out a working tool. You could put in your line items, it calculates the totals, and you can download a finished PDF. I mean, that's real-world utility, built completely on demand.
And it's not just for big, complicated projects either. Someone asked for something simple, a Pomodoro timer with a task list. And yeah, Antigravity built it. But here's the part that gets really wild. The AI agent then went in and tested its own creation. It literally added a task to the list and started the timer. So it's not just a builder, it's acting like a user too. Okay, but here is the one detail that changes everything. These apps, they weren't built over weeks or months by a whole team of developers. They were generated in minutes. That's the part that's kind of hard to process, and it's exactly why everyone is freaking out about this. So right about now, you're probably asking, how is any of this even possible? Well, it's not magic, even though it feels like it. It's actually a coordinated team of what they're calling AI agents. And these agents, they're the engine making this whole thing go.
So what in the world is an AI agent? The best way to think about it is like an autonomous digital worker. You give it a big picture goal, and it can actually use digital tools on its own, like a code editor or a web browser to get the job done, without you having to hold its hand every step of the way. It's a true problem solver, not just something that follows a list of commands.
So here's how the process basically works. It's kind of like a digital assembly line. First, you describe your idea in plain English. That's your only job. Then, an AI agent acts like a project manager, and it creates a whole step-by-step blueprint. Next, another agent, let's call it the developer agent, gets to work writing the actual code and setting up all the project files. And this is where the real secret sauce is. It's been trained on just mountains of code, so it can predict what's needed. But it doesn't stop there. A third agent, a QA tester, literally opens a browser, clicks around the app to test it, and if it finds a bug, it sends a report back to the developer agent, which then fixes it. It's a complete automated development cycle. It's incredible.
Look, this whole agent-based approach, it's so much more than just a speed boost. What we're seeing is a fundamental shift in what it even means to create software. The old rules of the game are starting to look, well, really obsolete. And this completely redefines your role in the process. You're not the one in the weeds anymore, worrying about every semicolon and bracket. You're not the typist. You become the director, the architect. Your most important job is to have the vision and communicate it clearly. The AI agents, they handle all the manual labor of actually coding and testing. I mean, the contrast is just stark. The old way could take months, right? It required really deep, specialized technical skills. The new way, you get working tools in minutes. The most important skill is no longer technical execution, it's having a clear vision and being able to articulate it. The bottleneck isn't how fast you can type code anymore. And this new way of doing things, it just shatters some of these old beliefs we've held for so long. You know that feeling of, I'm not technical enough? Well, that might not even matter anymore. If you can describe it, you can build it. The idea that building good tools takes months, the new bottleneck isn't speed, it's coming up with good ideas.
And hey, if you've ever tried to learn coding and felt like you failed, you didn't fail at building things. You failed at the old way of doing it. This is a totally different ballgame. It's more like having a conversation.
Okay, but before we all get way too carried away planning the apps we're going to build, we have to pump the brakes for a second. We need to have a serious talk about the risks. Because giving AI agents this much freedom, well, it's incredibly powerful, but it can also be really dangerous if you aren't careful. So it is absolutely crucial to remember that anti-gravity is still in public preview. And that's just tech industry jargon for, hey, this is still a work in progress, use it at your own risk. It's powerful, for sure, but it is not perfect. It's going to have bugs, and even more importantly, it could have some serious security holes. And this means you have to be incredibly smart about how you use it. An agent that has access to your computer can absolutely execute destructive commands. There was a case where an agent literally deleted a user's entire hard drive by mistake. So these best practices, they're not suggestions, they are non-negotiable. You have to require manual approval for everything it does, you have to run it in a sandboxed, isolated environment, and please, never ever give it your real passwords or production data. Use dummy data only. But look, even with all those warnings, the big picture here is just massive. It really feels like, maybe for the first time ever, the main thing stopping us from creating new tools isn't how well we can code or how much time we have. The barrier is now the quality and the clarity of our ideas. So it leaves us all with this one huge question. If technology really isn't the barrier anymore, what are you going to build?